everyone, and welcome to another episode of Little Give. I'm super excited about our guest that we have today. She's got so much going on, and I can't wait to peel back the layers and find out more. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're all about.
Hey, Cindy. My name is Anne Alexander Sieder. I am an American actor who landed in Germany 30 years ago. I came for love, not my career, but I have managed to make both work. And I don't know, honestly, which one I'm more proud of. But yeah, so when I first moved to Germany, we started a family right away and was busy with that. And honestly, I didn't see a way back to my acting career because I originally didn't speak any German. So I was SAG-AFTRA in America, working on my equity card. Those are the three actors unions. And, you know, you think your life is planned and then life throws you a curveball. So I would say the beginning of my journey here in Germany was fairly rocky. You know, I was rocky in terms of getting acclimated to everything, to a brand new life, brand new station in life as a wife and a mom, country, friends, all of it. But within a couple of years, I got myself acclimated and I started to look around for what I could do. And I had seen a poster somewhere that said the American Drama Group. And I thought, aha, okay, that has my name on it. So I booked an appointment, I auditioned, and it went really well. And when I was done, the owner, Grantley Marshall was his name, said, "Congratulations, welcome to the family." And then he pulls out this huge paper calendar and he starts showing me their touring dates. And I could not go touring. They toured 9 months out of the year, but I couldn't do that because I had a 2-year-old at home. So I apologized, felt bad for having wasted his time, got up to go leave. And then, kind of on a whim, I leaned back in and said, "You don't happen to know anybody here in Munich, do you?" And he ended up giving me two names. And for one thing, those two names became pivotal in launching what became a really prolific voiceover career, which led to presenting work, which led to commercial work. So I just want to stop and tap here for a second because I think it was the first time in my life that I had ever really kind of asked somebody for something in this sense, like in it, as a complete stranger who owes me nothing. And I think in many ways, women are conditioned not to ask for things. But what I realized when I did that was when you make it easy for someone to help you, they can have a huge impact. And he did have a huge impact on my life. And it was no skin off his nose, you know, and people do like to help when you make it easy for them to help. So that went on for about 16 years. And one day, my son came to me and said he didn't want to hang out with me on Friday nights anymore, which was our tradition. And that led into a whole nother era of my life and career here. So this was kind of transitional point. So do you have a question or do you have anything that you want to add to
Yes,
that?
I mean, I love what
Yes.
you're saying because you opened up the show with a little give that turned into a big impact, and that's
Yes.
wonderful. And so then you end up doing all of these things, and it really pivots you into doing some bigger things. Tell us a bit about that and where that led you next.
Well, what happened was my son came over and said, "Mom, I don't want to hang out with you at the movies on Friday nights anymore." And he told me this on a Thursday. And I think my husband was away on a golfing trip that weekend. And honestly, it was the first time in 16 years that I had a chance to think about, what do I want? Before, I had always thought about, what do we want? What can we do together? And this was truly the first time that it was just me. And the answer was kind of simple. I wanted to have fun. And my idea of a good time is an acting workshop. So I sat down and I Googled acting workshop Munich English, and one came up. There was a coach out of LA. The workshop was starting the next day. There was one spot open. So I whipped out my credit card, signed up for it. I went there with very high hopes and low expectations. I had no idea. But after that 3 days, the workshop was amazing. And what it made me realize was there had been this pilot light kind of burning inside of me for 16 years that I wasn't even aware of. And during the workshop, it just it burst into flame. And I knew that by the end of it, there was no turning back. So I had really, honestly, it was like I had been trying to breathe underwater. I had been trying to breathe outside of my element for 16 years and knew I had to find a way back to it. So the very first challenge that I was presented with was that I was rusty, right? I was an actor who hadn't acted in 16 years. I was doing acting adjacent stuff, but I hadn't acted in 16 years. And so that led, I always believe that whatever challenge you're facing, the solution is within that challenge somewhere if you just ask yourself the right questions.
So true.
Yeah.
So
And
true.
so
There's always a way. Yep. There's always a way. I love that.
always, always. And so the answer was really obvious. I had to get some training. And that presented the second challenge, which was I wanted the training in English. I wanted a really high level of training. So that, left me with maybe going to London, New York, LA, Chicago, to try and get this. But obviously that would be time and financially very expensive. And even though my son didn't want to hang out with me on Friday nights, I was still his mom. I still had to get him up for school and take care of him and all of that. So the answer was, okay, how do I get the training here in Munich? And I started to reach out to these coaches and just ask them, what's it going to take to get you here? And very quickly, I sat down with my pencil and paper and figured out that if I got a handful of other actors to take these workshops with me, I could get the training I needed. I could build a community, and really dive back into what had been missing, to what I felt is my purpose.
Hi, my name is Justin Clark, and I'm the president of the board of directors for Driving Single Parents, a 501c3 nonprofit serving the citizens of San Antonio and Bexar County, Texas. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the great work that our organization is doing for the citizens of San Antonio. What you're about to see is just a few photos and videos of the way that we're changing lives for single parents in and around San Antonio, Texas. Our first giveaway took place in April of 2017, just one short month after the formation of our organization. John, a Bexar County resident, was the victim of a horrible drunk driver incident. He and his daughter survived the crash, and we were so proud to give our first car to this deserving family. Fast forward to 2020, a very difficult year for nonprofits. We were able to secure 4 vehicles for single parents in need. Our organization, including our board of directors, list of partners, and portfolio of people we've been able to help in San Antonio, continues to grow, and it's all thanks to donors and local community organizations that have helped us along the way. This giveaway took place in 2021 and shows that we continue to help single parents even after the struggles brought about by COVID-19. Because of limited funds and the overwhelming need, we at Driving Single Parents are incredibly selective with the people we help. Some are victims of domestic violence. Others had a spouse pass away tragically or otherwise fell on hard times. These single parents show adversity in the face of challenge and aren't looking for a handout. We offer a hand up and help get them back in the driver's seat. Many of the single parents we help go on to graduate college, get promotions, get married, mentor others, and some have even been so touched by the gift we gave them that they have decided to join our board of directors to pay it forward and ensure the continued growth of our organization. If you would like to help our organization continue to grow and continue to help single parents in need in San Antonio, Texas, and Bexar County, Texas, we would really appreciate your support. Please visit us online at www.drivingsingleparents.org. Thank you.
Wow, that's such a cool story. I like how there was only one spot open and you just happened to be at the right place at the right time to fill that one spot. And when it just felt right, you went for it. And I think a lot of people have difficulty with that and maybe struggle with a little bit of self-doubt, like, should I do it? Maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should wait, And so I love that you just said, all right, let's do it. And you did it, and look at where it got you. So tell us a bit about how that led you to the next level.
Yeah, well, I did that for a year and a half. I used to call these big when I would bring in a coach, I was calling that the big workshops. And then I was organizing little workshops around that, where the people who had participated in the big workshops, where we could all practice what we were learning. And I was bringing in people, coaches, probably once, twice, sometimes even 3 times a month. And then organizing, as I say, these little workshops around that. And I did that for about a year and a half, until I kind of felt my skills and my confidence in my skills click back into place. And this is something where I think that most people, I think I'm not unique in that I put my dreams on the back burner for my family, for my child, for my husband. But where I think, most people, when they get to the point where they realize, oh, okay, now I can kind of warm up those leftover dreams and bring them onto the front burner, they kind of look at it and they go, okay, well, yeah, now what? I'm too old. My time has passed me by. Nobody, it's too late. And I truly believe that our passion, our curiosities can lead to our passions, which leads to our purpose. And so you just kind of have to keep following that. But I didn't answer your.
Don't be afraid. Yeah, that totally answers my question. And to not be afraid, I love that. I feel like it's inspiring that you're sharing this, because I do feel like people tend to think, oh, well, I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm too busy, I'm too with my family, I'm too, it's always something. It's like, no matter what age you are, no matter where you're at in your life, no matter what, you're always too something to something, right? So I like how you're sharing that you can go for your dreams and you can make it all happen at one time and still be a great, wonderful mom and wife and still do all the things that you do. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dreams don't have expiration dates, right? So it's you just need to be able to figure out how to build a bridge from your passion to making it a meaningful, impactful part of your life. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a lot of power in embracing a beginner's mindset. So I think in this day and age, everybody wants to be a coach or an expert or an influencer, and yet they don't necessarily have the experience to back that up, which leads to a lot of imposter syndrome. And it's not, I don't think people have bad intentions. It's just that they don't know how else to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I think that when you are curating experts and coaches and creating these communities around something that you're passionate about, and people who resonate with that will naturally be, magnetized to that. And what ends up happening is you are, not only are you creating communities around that, but I think as adults, it can be really hard, especially if your life has been very wrapped up in your family for 16 to 20 years. It can be really hard to make adult friendships, new friendships. Like when my son was in school, it was easy. My son likes your son, they'll play together and we'll talk. And generally we would end up being friends, the moms, right? Or when I was out there doing a lot of the different voiceover work and, meeting people like that, there was also relationships that were being built out of that. But I think the more we go into this world of social media, virtual contact with each other, AI, which is, leading, it's very helpful in some ways, but it's putting up even more barriers. I think that the more people are going to be looking for ways to truly connect one human being to another and have those meaningful, impactful relationships in their lives in a way that is sustainable. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Andrew Fraley, and I believe that sometimes we all need a little bit of help. If you're in the San Antonio community and you need some legal help, call me. at 210-725-4658.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is one of the big things. It's so interesting to me that in this world where now we're connected with social media and we can touch many more lives than we ever could in our small communities, right? Now, some people feel more alone than ever. And it's that connection aspect that you miss out on a little bit or a lot whenever there is all this AI generated everything. And there are, all of these people putting out a story that's not truly themselves. And so I just think that's so interesting that you brought that up.
Yeah, obviously I'm very affected by it. Even as an actor, I'm very affected by it, right? I mean, we're seeing the voiceover work has, is been reduced by 90%. Commercials are starting to be done by AI created actors. I'm sure small roles, that'll be the next thing. And then who knows? I mean, we have quantum computers creating these things. So I think we need to, what a computer cannot replace are human to human interactions, those
The
quirks,
connection.
those connections, those things that make us, uniquely us, and the way we connect with other people through our authenticity, through, what lights us up and all. So I think we all need to be thinking in terms of, I'm sure you're familiar with, what is it, 1,000 True Fans? I can't remember the name of the author. Have you ever
I
read that
haven't
article?
heard that. I have not.
No? Okay,
No.
so I cannot remember the name of the author, but it's an article that basically the premise of it is that all you need is 1,000 true fans to have a sustainable life if each one of those true fans is contributing $100 towards whatever it is you do, which
Wow.
is where I think in many ways we're headed. We're headed to the mega, mega rich, more and more people who will be creating, extreme and crazy wealth. And we're also going to be having many more people who are creating niche wealth, sustainable wealth, because that's not necessarily the goal for a lot of people. They want to live a purpose-driven life, a fulfilling life, and a meaningful life. At the end of the day, we all just want to have impact. Look at what you're doing, the impact that you have with this show, and how many lives you impact by helping all these nonprofits. And at the end of the day, when we close our eyes for the big sleep, right, we want the movie that's playing. We don't want to be screaming, change the channel, right?
Right.
We want
Right.
that movie to be something we're proud of, something we know leaves an impact on this world in a good way. And the only way to do that is by impacting other people in a positive way.
I completely agree. And so you've really taken all of this you're talking about, which is totally in my wheelhouse. I love it, and turned it into your own business. Talk a bit about
Yes.
how that kind of hit you and how that's moving along and what you love about it.
Yeah. So I have two coaching programs. One is Get Better Roles. This one is geared specifically to actors who they've been in the business for at least a few years. They probably have an agent, maybe even a manager, and still they're not getting access to the roles they want. So I help them by honing their brand and infusing that into their marketing, their networking, really teaching them the business side of being an actor. And that's that program. The other program that I have is Passion Project to Purpose, which is based on my own journey of curating these coaches to build that bridge myself back to what I feel is a big part of my purpose on this planet, to be a creative. And it really came about because I just, I know so many people who spend the majority of their life doing something that they are not happy. It doesn't make them happy. They don't feel fulfilled. They're doing it because they have obligations to meet. They're doing it because they don't know what else to do. They don't know how to make it a meaningful, sustaining part of their life. And I always think that, they only think that because they think that they need to be the expert. But there are also ways to create community around what it is that lights you up, and use that as a vehicle to learn more about it. And then maybe someday down the line, you will have earned your 10,000 hours and can become a coach or an expert if you so choose. But it is not a necessary part of it. So I have people that are interested in all sorts of different things, from cake decorating to furniture refurbishment, with the idea of having, she's an artist, she wants to flip furniture. Other people, another one who's into self-healing. She's in her early 60s. She's lonely, feels like it's difficult to make friends. I mean, this really gave me a lot of things to think about in terms of that. And so she wants to create communities around healing. So whatever that looks like, through meditation, through retreats, through, whatever kind of she's interested in. Because anything that you can learn in bite-sized pieces, obviously you can't become a doctor by taking a workshop, but anything that you, right, nobody I want to go to anyway. Exactly. Right. But anything that you can learn in incremental progressive steps, you can do this through a workshop, an in-person event, an online seminar, a retreat, a supper club, whatever that looks like.
And I think that the whole point of what you're saying is kind of like what you did, where you're like, maybe I wanted this. And then you went on Google and you found that, and then you went and did that. And then slowly but surely, look where you are now. And I think that's a really important message is, you can't just start off with $1 million business. So you can't just start off at a 10 whenever, you're a 1. You got to really start to work toward things one step at a time. And I think that can be a little bit overwhelming for some. So I love how you just kind of broke it down into, I started this one class, and then I did the next thing and the next thing, and I started this business and I did that one. And getting into your purpose, I think, is really important for a lot of people, where you don't have to just, get into your purpose and then you just don't make any money. You can actually combine your purpose with a way to make the money to support the life that you need, because we live in a society where you need money, right?
Money is the barter system in this world. You have to have money. Yeah.
And there's no way around it. So
yeah.
I love how you're doing that and helping people find their passion, and also a way that they can incorporate what they love into a way to make it sustainable. So I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
So much for sharing all of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on to my little give questions. I ask every guest 2 questions. And the first one is, can you give the audience an example of a little thing that they can do in their community that might just be a little give on their end, but might make a big impact on the other side?
Yeah, absolutely. So every year at Thanksgiving, we have a huge Thanksgiving party. And of course, it doesn't have to be something huge, but this is what we do. And we ask each of the guests to bring something to donate for an auction that takes place that night. Not only is it a lot of fun, but we always end up raising a lot of money from the guests who brought the presents themselves, which is great. And they donate all sorts of different things. We have people who've donated like their apartment on Mallorca for a weekend, or, their house in the Alps for a week. So it's whatever you have access to that you can share. We have artists who have donated, a picture, or a photographer that will do a photography session. It's really, look around, look at the people in your lives. Everybody can contribute something. And even if you say there's a cap on this of $25, but you invite 10 people, that's a meaningful, impactful thing that you can then give to a charity. And that's what we do every year. So I think that it's a really easy and fun way to get some money to donate for these, whatever your nonprofit is.
Yeah. And I like how it ties into that connection aspect, because not only are you getting people to gather things that they can donate, then you get the money to give to the nonprofit, but you're all having a gathering to where you're having that connection. So just kind of back to what we talked about earlier, where connection is so important. And so it seems like a great way to help nonprofits while also keeping that connection part, rather than just going and donating online. So that's
Exactly.
important.
That's important, but these are
Mhm.
fun. These are like super fun
Yeah,
events,
and
and you could even do
connection.
it a potluck. I mean, there are a million different ways to do it, depending on what your budget is and who
Yeah,
your
I
friends
love
are.
that idea. I
Yeah.
love that idea. All right, the second one is, can you give the audience an example of a time in your life where somebody did something little for you that might have just been a little give on their end, but really made an impact on you and in your life?
Well, honestly, I touched on that at the beginning of our conversation. That was a man named Grantley Marshall who put me in touch with Ozzy Rageb, who truly launched my voiceover career here in Europe. And I've done voiceover at this point for every company you've heard of, and probably 100 more that you haven't heard of that are based in Germany. So that was hugely impactful in my life. Um, and it was easy, I don't think he ever thought twice about it.
Definitely. Like, again, you
Yeah.
never know where that impact's going to be made. You never know what it is that you're doing that's actually truly going to impact someone in their life. So thank you also for sharing that story. What about nonprofits? Do you have any nonprofits that you want to feature today?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we have the wildfires blazing in California still, even though they're mostly under control now. I don't know when this goes out, but Habitat for Humanity, the disaster relief in LA. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. My son lives in LA. Thank goodness he's here with me now. But we have friends and family in LA. Obviously, the film industry is in LA. It's just devastating what has happened to that city. And I don't honestly know if it'll ever be the same. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
I'm sure it won't. And that's so many families that have been displaced and so many things that have happened that's really affected, our whole world, not just
yeah,
the community. I mean, just so
yeah,
many things. And I love how you featured that because we can really rally around those families who need to rebuild and do different things. So Habitat for Humanity can go out and help. And so that's a great nonprofit. Thank you so much for sharing that. Why don't you tell the audience if they want to get to know more about you and all you do and get in touch, where can they find you?
I am super easy to find. I am everywhere. I'm on Instagram, Act Bold. On Linktree is probably the easiest, so act_bold. But if you send me a DM, on Instagram, on Facebook, I always respond personally. It's not my VA or my assistant doing that. It's me. Let me know what you liked about this. Give a shout out to Cindy and I on Instagram and tag us and let us know what stood out to you in this episode. Or maybe if you do a dinner with your friends and you donate the money, let us know that too.
Definitely. If anybody out there is watching this and they end up doing a potluck like that and they want to make a donation, please, you can come on the show and talk to us all about it. And we can share in the photos and stories of how that went and who you helped. So I love that idea. Well, everybody out there, she told you exactly where to find her, what to do to get to know more about her and all she does. And if you fell in love with that nonprofit and you really want to do something to help with those wildfires, please do visit that nonprofit website. And if you can, just make $1 donation. $1 or $5 multiplied by the many people we have watching this show today can make a huge impact to nonprofits around the world. So thank you so much for all that you do to support nonprofits. And thank you so much for being on today. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. And I look forward to following your story from here on out.
Cindy, I really appreciate it. It was a real pleasure being on your show. Thank you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it as well. If you enjoyed this episode of Little Give, head on over to our website at littlegive.com. You'll be able to find all the information about previous episodes and past guests that we've had on. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on Little Give, all the information is also on the website. And if you have a nonprofit that you love and would like to recommend be on the show, all of that information is also on the website. We really appreciate you watching today, and we can't wait to see you again next week.